Yeah, waarom is hij? He's now busy.
Okay.
Yes. Because I present you in a certain way. I share your studies. I do one page. Is one page from you, but I warn the people that the links goes to Azamra straight. That they review who you are, of what you bring, and I post every day the scripture study with something around it. I give an introduction and something afterwards who I am, of where we are busy with Bet Ya'aqob, because the Watchman of Israel is not Bet Ya'aqob. Bet Ya'aqob is yes. The Watchman of Israel is an Israeli individual who want to call up people to do teshuvah. And he used them studies from you and from other rabbis that I post every.
Who are the other rabbis you have?
From the Orthodox Union, I put them from Zohar. He gives daily study to listen to it, only the sound of the Zohar. Pick up so much as possible that I can find, that I can share, because they are people who visit me. They are very hungry for Torah, and the only good education that you can find is in Judaism. And they like it, but I find that I share.
So your users are located in Pakistan and India?
Me?
The users of your website?
Yes. It is, and he bring it further. He choose some studies from my website, and he teach that further. He said that Rabbi Abraham said this and this about this, because he quote what he read. And they are really weekly. All our members from Bet Ya'aqob, they do really weekly Torah reading and Haftarah reading, but in their language, but with the understanding that they find in the studies that they find on the website.
So how would you summarize the main needs? You've mentioned money, which we all need, and,
yes.
And no doubt they need money and would use it.
Now, Gadi is the president, is very impressed by your advice about the financial system, about the teach and etc. And we give a description to the people who come to join, who join Bet Ya'aqob, how to do that.
Have you ever sent them money?
I no. Yeah, one time, but it's not specific for Bet Ya'aqob.
Is there a safe way to send them money that the money doesn't?
Yes, we have a Vrij Nationaal Fund, and that is for we're going to spend it on a study hub in India, Hyderabad, and also we're going to have an Ephraim synagogue, how to organize that, and that he asked you for, you offered to advise him.
Yes, yes.
And fund is also that they want to have on a certain moment an embassy in Jerusalem who represent them, because they really like to come united with the Jews, with Yehuda. But
are you familiar with the initiative of Ovadia?
Yes.
Are you part of that? Are you connected with
No,
that?
I'm not part of it. A while back, a couple of years back, I got contact with them, and that was really not nice.
You what?
That was not nice. That's what I read on their website from Collator. It sounds very interesting. And on one side they said we are not busy for conversion, but on another page you find that they want to have that the Jewish rabbis, you follow the halakha for your personal belief. And I met many people who got contact with them who are very disappointed because they got no freedom on the end. I would say that people are very interested, but they are not in the point to be converted to Judaism.
To rabbinical Judaism.
But they want to listen. They want to hear from them. Yeah. But,
because now Ovadia is working with a man in America by the name of Kevin Davison in setting up something that they're calling the Commonwealth of Israel.
I read something on the website.
You read about that. Well, I know they're planning a conference in June, B'ezrat Hashem, in Jerusalem, which is designed to be sort of dialogue of Ephraim and Judah. As you probably or possibly do know, I am closely associated with them.
I saw that.
And I have major problems that somehow, wherever I get associated with, people are sort of arguing with one another and divided against one another. Like in Africa also, like I have connections in Nigeria and Ghana, they're all like struggling with each other. It drives me out of my mind. It's, well, and Judaism as well. Maybe it's a good sign that we're onto something if it causes so much. There is an inevitable contradiction, because Ephraim started as an independent nation when they rebelled against the kings of Judah, and that rebellion, that rebellious spirit in some people remains until today. I mean, I just 2 days ago received an email that was forwarded to me from somebody in America, I forget his name, who considers himself to represent Ephraim, who is furious with Kol HaTor for trying to force everybody to come under the authority of the rabbis.
Now that was my problem. I find them suspicious when I talked with them. A few years back.
You say suspicious, you mean they're suspicious of you, or they
became also suspicious of me. I like to explain it, because now we talk about it. I find them suspicious. On one side they said you are complete free, we don't want to have a conversion, but behind, when you are a while busy with them, I hear from people that they want to have that you convert, or that you renounce Jesus Christ. And that I find okay.
You find what?
That I find okay that they renounce against, that they renounce Jesus Christ. That I find normal. But not the conversion, because I hear from people that when they believe that the person in the New Testament is the Messiah, and but they want to follow the Torah, yes, they don't recognize him as an individual or something between Hashem and themselves. No, really as and then they never accept it. You cannot follow him. And so that is their way of doing, yeah. But I am not agree with it. And because they say first no conversion, and when you are a while busy with them, then they push in conversion, and that is, yeah, you make them dependent on you, and then you have exactly to do what they said, what is right or wrong. And I explained it to Obadja, and then he started to threaten me that I share in that time, now not, the scriptures, a Bible that they print in South Africa for people who want to have an English Bible. And he want to threaten me with it, that he want to go to court, that I do, how you say that, preach the gospel. I'm a missionary. And that I was very disappointed with that. Because first he felt that I'm not so agree in their approach, and then he started to threaten me that I'm a missionary. And I have on our website, I state clearly that we believe that the rabbinical leaders that is divine regulated, that they are for the Jews, they need to recognize the rabbinical leadership, halakha, etc. But Ephraim, they come back with Messiah Ben Yosef. How they learn it from Kolator, the book. We have it on the internet, and I put it also on our website. That approach. There are many people not agree that Metatron is the Messiah. That is Kolator, who said that is the Malach of his presence from Isaiah. Isaiah is not written. And but they learn about Messiah and Messiah Ben Yosef and Messiah Ben Yosef, the most important side from Kolator and other Jewish background. And they will have the complete freedom in it, that they are busy with it. And they are not per definition busy with Avodah Zarah, praying to someone between. So that was my problem with
Do you have any connection with Hanoch Young?
Sometimes I met him.
Now, he has a more liberal attitude to people that believe in Yeshua than I believe them also. Have you found that?
We have sometimes contact, but it's together with the Ephraim group that he met. I visited that Ephraim group in Jerusalem also, as in, to talk. And he has a different meaning than I have. I find Hashem said clearly in Deuteronomium chapter 30, verse 10, if you obey my voice and do my commandments. Yeah, not the literal translation, but you know better. And that is a condition for teshuva, and you cannot go around it. And he finds he may not put that in that way. So he's not enthusiastic for me, and I am not enthusiastic for him because he reacted. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that all the different people who are working in these fields have plenty of work to do. I doubt very much if we shall all be able to unite by ourselves. We really will need Melech Mashiach to help us
Yeah.
to unite. We'll all be so blown away by the actual Moshiach that we'll hopefully drop all of this stuff. But right now, it's very difficult to navigate between all this machloket everywhere.
Yes, but I think we should be open for the people who like to learn Torah.
Oh, absolutely.
And to do teshuva.
My own goal is to avoid getting sucked into the disputes and just, I perceive myself primarily as a translator whose job is to be like a clean window that who looks through it can see exactly what's on the other side reflected through the window. And I hope to do more in biblical teaching and some Hasidic teaching with God's help.
I have a question about the Commonwealth. I saw that you are also connected with it. They like to form on the end a kind of Sanhedrin on people from the nations and Jews. Gadi is very interested in what is to read there, but he has one big question. He is convinced that Mishkan, the Aron Kodesh, has to be brought back to the place on the mountain. And then we shall hear his voice again. And he also believes that if we then hear his voice again, that is Messiah Ben David, his Torah. That's Hashem. I also afraid that something happened as 2000 years back. Came a very nice, beautiful temple, but no Aron Kodesh inside. And then we believe and think that then there's a big chance that it goes wrong. You can have a very beautiful building and fulfill the wishes of the desire that we have to do the covenant and etc. Yeah, God is convinced you can only do the covenant in the right way with the Aron Kodesh. How you say that? It is connected to each other. Not that he that he has to take the initiative to take the Aron Kodesh. He really is waiting that you hear the Jews coming up with it, that they desire the Aron Kodesh, and that they pick it up probably from under the Harabay and bring it in the right way.
There was a famous modern archaeologist, Wendell Jones, who passed away a few years ago, who spent the last years of his life searching for the trail to the Aron Kodesh, but he didn't find it. And I don't know if we gain much by speculating how everything will be restored. The first point is that according to the halacha, and Rambam gives this psak in the Mishnah Torah, it is permitted to offer sacrifices on the Temple Mount even when the temple itself is not standing, as long as these sacrifices are offered on the correct place of the Mizbeach. So that's one clarification that we can provide immediately. The Sanhedrin is connected with the Bet HaMikdash in the sense that when the temple is standing, the Sanhedrin is situated right next to the temple courtyard in the Lishkat HaGazit, the chamber of the cut stones, the hewn stones. That does not prevent any Sanhedrin standing up and saying we're a Sanhedrin. For example, about 14 or 15 years ago, there was the initiative of the Sanhedrin that is now called the renewed Sanhedrin, the Sanhedrin Mechudash of Rabbi Adin Steinsaltz.
I hear something.
So I'm familiar with them, I know them, I've attended some of their meetings. They did have the agreement of some of the leading rabbis of Israel, including from the Ashkenazim, Rabbi Moshe Halberstam, Rabbi Ovadia Yosef was in favor, Rabbi Eliyahu, the late Rabbi, what was his first name? His son is now, Shmuel Eliyahu is the chief rabbi of Tzfat, his father, Rabbi Mordechai Eliyahu. So intrinsically, a Sanhedrin is like, can be 23 members or 70 members, but that does not force you to listen to them. I mean, they can say we are the Sanhedrin, but doesn't mean everybody immediately has to bow down to them and obey them. How the true Sanhedrin will come back into being, I don't know, and I don't know if we can speculate. We do know that the author of the Shulchan Aruch, Rabbi Yosef Karo, received smicha from Rabbi Yitzhak Luria, the Ari. And there is a kind of unofficial underground Sanhedrin of the true Chachmei Israel. But right now, there is no Sanhedrin that everybody accepts their authority. The initiative of Rav Steinsaltz Sanhedrin is seen as ridiculous by many rabbis. They just don't take it seriously. And there's some reasons which would help explain why it's not taken seriously. It's not always conducted in the way that perhaps the Sanhedrin ought to be conducted. I think my personal philosophy is that, first of all, I don't agree that we have to wait till the Ark of the Covenant appears before we can do anything.
No, the point is, is that Rav Ritzman? I'm not sure. From the Temple Institute.
Rav Richman?
I think it's Ritzman.
Rabbi Chaim Richman?
I think.
Yes.
I'm not sure. He stated on a certain moment there is a Jewish tradition that the Ark of the Covenant is under the Har Bayit. That today, because of the political situation, we cannot go there and search for it and then to pick it up. To do with it what we may be supposed to do with it. But on the other hand, I studied 20 years back in a yeshiva, and they were in the time they were busy to, how you say it, to dig out the Western Wall tunnels. And there were yeshiva students who went under the mountain and on a certain moment discovered a room, and they saw clothes from Kohanim in that time and something more. And I hear from that they went to the rabbi, I don't know who or what, to the rabbis, and they decided to close it off because the Jewish people are not fit for it,
Well, if you look
ready
in
for it.
look in the book of Samuel, when the Pelishtim captured the Aron Kodesh.
That is what, as believed by me, is growing from if we, the Jews, are in the right way doing Teshuvah, then the Kohanim, because the Temple Institute they teach the Kohanim, I really believe they shall do it in the right way, and there shall no enemy has a chance to take the Ark of the Covenant, because they are not clean enough, and
Even when the Pelishtim sent back the ark, the people who received it in Bet Shemesh, they all died because they did not
they
treat
did
the
it
ark.
the wrong way.
That's exactly
Touch
so.
it.
My philosophy is that first we have to have education, and we have to be choser b'tshuva. And my philosophy is that our whole focus now is on education. That was why I wrote a book about the future temple, not because I believe that you can build it today, but because before we can have it, we first have to want it. And we can only want it
Yes.
when we know what it is. So that's why we need education. The majority of the Jewish people would have no idea what to do with the temple. They wouldn't know. I mean, they don't know what the temple is. I was like that myself 30 years ago before I started to study.
Yes.
And after a long study, you begin to realize it's not at all what people think it is. I also think, obviously, that the political situation cannot be separated from, it's the political situation which is essentially setting up the barriers for Israel to receive back the temple.
But you said also today, Islam is on the end.
Well, it is, but that doesn't mean that the end is next week. I mean, it might be like, 20, 30, 40, 1 century, two centuries away. We're now in the year 5776, and we are taught that the duration of the world in this state is 6,000 years. So that means we have 224 years where the Geulah will come any time in the next